We are live.
With the
Welcome
podcast.
back. Yeah, to the podcast.
The podcast ever.
The one. I guess this is going to be a reoccurring thing.
Yeah.
The one and only true podcast ever, I might add.
Yeah, fuck the haters, fuck the fakers. If you, I probably shouldn't be cursing in the first 30 seconds of a video because that's how you get your stuff demonetized. But who cares? Because we really have to call these people out who just make like 3-second audio clips and then fuck off. They're retards.
Oh, why would you take the name if you're not going to do anything with it?
Yeah. Well, some people just lack commitment. Unlike us, we're very committed people. We're very driven about our craft, and that's why we're here for episode number 3. Not everybody can do that.
We just started already on episode number 3. Exactly. I mean, I think that alone makes us better than the haters and the imitators.
It's about consistency.
Indeed it is.
Same with exercise.
Indeed it is.
Yes, because you cannot build a good physique unless you have a good regimen and you are training yourself properly. Property. Yeah, no, I mean, you are your property and you should be training it good, building it up. And definitely you need a good diet as well as good pre-workout, That sounded like it was going to turn into an ad, but no, actually the question we're answering today is how you get prepared for a workout.
Wait, we're answering how they should get prepared for a workout?
Well, we're answering how we do it, but obviously we're correct. So, I mean, if we're giving good opinions, people are going to follow.
That's true. Okay. Why don't you go ahead and give your regimen first?
Well, look, I know we're already going to mention alcohol. That's like, the number one thing I think this episode has to be about. And if we're going to go into that, what I can say is that not necessarily what I recommend, but what I've been using, before some has been, I should say, let me preface this because, you can't really just say you're drinking alcohol before workout and not give a reason as to why. Correct.
Right.
And also, I have to talk not only about the workout benefits, but perhaps the health benefits. But okay, look, so first of all, alcohol contains ethanol, right? And ethanol in small quantities can actually inhibit your aging. Yes, it's true. I've seen this on Twitter. But for real, the guy that is talking about it, he posts a lot of studies, and apparently in small quantities, ethanol can essentially reduce the amount of aging visible on your skin. So you are essentially finding a youth serum with alcohol. I might have to pull up the actual post because I think I saved that one, and I think I saved the other one. But the what is it?
If you can, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll have to. But anyway, point being there. Alcohol also increases your blood flow and it gives you better pumps when you're working out. Now that doesn't necessarily contribute to your gains, just the pumps themselves, but the blood flow, it does help. And as we've proven before, you can lift better when you drink.
Very true. There's been many a times after a nice, I guess you could call it a bender. Yeah. Nice long bender.
3-day bender, let me add.
3 days, exactly. And I mean, during a bender, you could just say, well, I'm on a bender. I'm not going to work out. But you could also say, well, the gains don't stop for anybody. So why should I stop the gains now? Might as well keep going. So many moons ago, myself and our other charismatic host here, we went on it's happened like a few times, isn't it?
Yeah, it has.
A few times, but we had what you could call a bender, and we also had the idea of, well, we still need to get gains in, so we went to the gym with a decent amount of alcohol in our system after drinking, mind you, like the morning after or whatever, or I guess that's afternoon at that point, but you get the point. And I in particular, I can't really speak for him, I in particular noticed that not only did my my lifting go up in terms of weight for like that day or the weekend, I suppose, but it stayed at that position. It didn't like drop as soon as I went back to my normal diet of not ethanol. So I mean, I'm just saying, there might be something there. And on top of that, actually, I had the great idea while going to the gym with another one of my buddies. What happens if before I go to the gym, I take a shot and the ride to the gym or drive to the gym or whatever, it takes a while anyway, so that's enough time for the alcohol to like really settle. What happens if I take a shot and then begin working out after I let it have time to settle? And the answer was uh the workouts were not nearly as intimidating. Now that could be a mind thing, but it could also be due to like the blood flow as well, because it didn't seem as difficult. But again, whether it's mind or matter, hard to say, but regardless, it was a much smoother process than I was used to. And that's really what the takeaway is here. So I'm not saying you should do this, but I am saying perhaps consider it.
Now, what I'm hearing is that it killed enough brain cells to calm your nerves permanently. Uh, now, I found the study actually. I mean, I didn't find the name of it, but I found somebody that posted the abstract. So the account Anabology, he basically posted from another source that was talking about how this other guy that he posted was talking about small doses of alcohol and ethanol, but then he posted a study, like screenshot of it, where he says, or where the study says, I should say, exposure to low concentrations of ethanol resulted in a decrease in the amount of lipofuscin, whereas exposure to high concentration of ethanol caused an increase in the level of lipofuscin. So basically, the takeaway from the guy that he reposted, Landshark Reads mentioned it before, but you should have a small dose of alcohol every day if you're not a drinker. Half a shot of rum, a few tablespoons of vodka in your tea, etc. Alcohol is the only thing that dissolves lipofuscin, which causes aging spots, participates in atherosclerosis, etc. Bigger amounts apparently do not dissolve the lipofuscin, and then he just goes on to say that. But look, small amounts of ethanol do. And what Anabology said, pretty good account, by the way, but he said it results in, or it comes out to 5 grams of alcohol, or so a blood alcohol content of 0.01, or like a third of a drink. Now, me personally, I went with this Manhattan mix that I found. It's like a small amount that I purchased. It is basically, the Manhattan mix, or it's like whiskey and some bitters. And it's all right. I take a couple swigs of it before. I did at one point. I was more consistent with it. Now, the key is consistency, and I have not done that in a while.
So you're doing like a mini Manhattan before every workout?
Essentially, yes.
Do you have the resources to do that? Or you said it was a mix, right?
Yeah, it already comes in a bottle.
You can just so wait, hold on, I'm not following. It's like a Manhattan in a bottle?
Yes.
Where do you even find this?
Manhattan in a bottle.
Because
Yes.
I've heard of
Where do
like
I purchase
seltzers
it?
and stuff,
Come
but
on, the
like
liquor
I've
store,
never heard of
man.
like cocktails in a bottle or
Purchase it at
can.
the liquor store. Yeah, you could purchase cocktails there in bottles. They're selling eggnog now in bottles,
Well, I
like
mean,
unrefrigerated.
oh, can they do that?
Yeah, no, I mean it's not as if it's the same milk that you're getting from a carton and or a jug or whatever. Like for some reason they say it's a dairy still. Like some of them say dairy on there. I don't know how they preserve that. I don't know if I trust that, but I'm just saying it's present and it's at room temperature and it should be as safe as normal alcohol.
Hmm. Did you get the chance to like peek the ingredients though?
No, I did not want to touch it.
Well, yeah, you didn't want to touch it.
No, didn't even want to touch it.
Not an eggnog boy.
We talked about this on the last episode. I mean, we do want a good eggnog. It's just, if it's some sort of artificial stuff, who knows what was in that? How do you keep milk room temperature? You'd have to have some sort of milk powder that you're returning into liquid by putting it in water, or maybe I don't know, either reconstituting it, or I don't know, maybe it's just not real dairy and they're just still calling it dairy somehow. Maybe there's some sort of loophole there.
Maybe, because I remember when I was a younger lad, and you had to like bring stuff for like lunch for school or whatever. My mom used to buy me these
Yoo-hoos, huh?
No, not, I
No,
hate Yoo-hoo.
dude,
You know,
Yoo-Hoos, the thing about those, I don't know what you're about to say, but the Yoo-Hoos, they call them chocolate drink. They're not allowed to call them chocolate milk because it's straight up like oil and water with chocolate flavor.
are you serious?
Yes, I'm serious. That's what those are. It's like first thing is like high fructose corn syrup, and then they have like palm oil and some other stuff in there, and then it's
Yo,
water and then chocolate flavor. Now, what did
that's
your mom pack you?
disgusting. Maybe that's why I've always hated Yoo-hoos. I was gonna bring up like these like almost like a Yoo-hoo, these milk drinks where they're supposed to be milk, but you don't need to refrigerate them, so you can just like take them wherever. You don't have to worry about them going bad or anything. And you put like a straw in and you drink it.
That really just sounds like a Yoo-Hoo, but like a white one.
You don't need to refrigerate a Yoo-hoo?
No, you don't. You buy them room temperature.
Huh.
That's why,
That's
because they're
already
water
pretty
and
sus.
oil. It's like water and oil.
So there's actually no dairy in it.
No. No, I think there
That's
might
so
be like
funny.
some sort of like milk substitute thing that's like not, it's definitely not real milk and it's not real dairy. There might be some sort of flavoring or some sort of powder that they put in it to make it, you know, simulate almost what milk would be like if it were in that drink.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's just kind of disgusting.
what do you do for workouts? What do you do to prepare? You just also take shots? That's do you do anything else?
Oh, I mean, that was kind of a recent experiment. I'm not sure whether or not I'm going to continue it. I mean, the results have been pretty good, so I probably will to some extent. Maybe not consistently though. But before that, what I was doing, this is actually funny too, because I could actually go like way back. Back when I first started getting into working out, what I would do is, obviously I knew, okay, you got to get like carbs in so you have the energy to do the workouts. And this is actually like a way we could probably segue into something else as well, which, well, maybe not really a segue. It's kind of on topic, but I would make myself what I knew to be a carb and what I knew to be quote unquote healthy at the time. This was like 2 years back. And I made myself a bowl of oatmeal before going to the gym. And I thought this was the best thing I could possibly be doing, high fiber. Uh, it's like a complex starch, I guess, or whatever. Uh, and it's a carb, and it works, and it's better than eating like chocolate cake or something like that as a carb. Um, but yeah, that's later I found out that's like a really bad thing to be doing actually, just because of the way carbs like that actually work on your body. But to bring it back to like modernity, uh, or like contemporary usage, I don't eat oatmeal, but what I do is when I know I'm going to the gym, I'll take like a teaspoon of honey right beforehand. I know that gives me enough of like a good rush of
Just a
sugar.
teaspoon?
Yeah, yeah, that or I would get like a fruit, like an orange or an apple.
Yeah. What I do, and yeah, I've done fruit too, like banana or like dates. I like dates.
I like the banana afterwards
I like dates before. Dates are good. I usually when I'm working out now, I drink coconut water while I'm working out. It's
instead
actually
of
like it's like a
regular water.
Gatorade. Yeah, it's like a Gatorade. Gives you electrolytes and you don't even have to put all that like dye and stuff in you.
Hmm.
Now,
Wait, are you getting it canned or
well, it's like in a box.
huh?
Yeah, there's like many boxes of them. They're not like cans. You've
You'll
never
have to send
had
me
a
that
drink
later.
in a box instead of a can. Like it's not in a can. It's in like
Like
a
a
mini
juice
box.
box, maybe.
Not with a straw on top. We're not talking a little straw that you poke into it. I'm talking a cap that twists off
Yeah, I don't think I've ever
like
encountered
a
that.
carton, but with a cap on it. See, the thing
Yep.
I could relate to it most is like you don't remember those like orange juice things that you could twist the cap off of?
What?
Those little cartons, they would have a cap instead of like opening as an actual carton. Or like the big drinks like half and half for example, if you twist the top off of it. It's like a carton and you twist the top off.
Oh, like an actual carton?
It's not that big. I'm just saying like it's smaller, but think of like a miniature one.
Wait, hold on. I might be able to bridge us here. Do you mean like the mini milk cartons you get at like school lunch? Like that?
The thing is with the milk cartons at school lunch, you got to open those from the side. And those used to be annoying too, if you know what I'm talking about. But they don't have the
Yeah.
twist off. They have the little thing that you got to like pull out. It's like the little
So,
cardboard thing that you got to like
okay,
pull out.
Oh wait, hold on. I think I know what you're talking about because I think I used to get those at the really awful airport food places before we went somewhere, where it's like it is a carton of orange juice in the same shape and like figure as like a milk carton, but instead of you opening it, there's a cap on the side.
Yes, but imagine instead of on the side, it's on top and it's just a flat top. Now that's the
I don't
coconut
know if I
water.
like that. I don't know if I like that.
It's a little bit hard to get the remnants out, but it's actually not that bad of an like delivering the juice to your mouth.
You'll have to send that to me because I don't drink enough coconut water, and I do like coconut water too. Just it's always in cans whenever I see it in the store.
Yeah. I was going to say also, I used to drink like coffee before the gym. I would do like coffee or like this guarana powder. Dude, if you know about that, they put that shit in energy drinks. It has a shit ton of caffeine. Like I would drink like fucking a day's worth of caffeine in one shot, pretty much, which is
So
not
you're
good.
taking a shot of sorts.
Well, yeah, it was still a shot. So I think the premise is still there, really. It's just trade-off.
And you used to do this like every time after a work or before a workout.
Most mornings I used to do workouts like solely in the morning first thing when I wake up, and that's what I drink. Now I do it more in the afternoon. I might switch back, honestly. I don't know. It's pretty all right doing it in the morning.
I'm kind of stuck doing it at night for various reasons.
Well, I kind of go around my work schedule now, and like I'm gonna be trading off some of my hours. So if anything, it's gonna become more efficient to actually do it in the morning.
Fair enough. My issue with that was when back when I had a regular sleep schedule, which I don't have now. Uh, I wouldn't be going to the gym, but I'd be going. There's like this area around my house where it was basically like a wooded uh like path that you could walk, and it just kind of goes endlessly. And I would walk that in the morning and then come back, and I do that first thing, or I'd eat breakfast first, I think. Or wait,
Now hold on. For while you figure that out, I need to stop you there because you said your sleep schedule isn't normal. It's beyond that. I mean, this motherfucker goes to bed at 6 o'clock in the morning. What the fuck? I mean, like seriously, who does that?
me apparently.
You're nocturnal.
Basically, uh, it is
I'm
not.
surprised. I'm surprised we have hours that we can meet for this.
That's actually yeah. Yeah, I'll be falling asleep in like 12 hours from now.
Yeah, I'm going to bed at like 4.
Like I've tried. I've tried so many different ways to get rid of it. I've tried staying up, didn't really work properly because then I just stay up anyway. What I mean by that is like staying up and just not going to sleep and then getting to bed the next day, but then I would just stay up anyway. So I'd essentially stay up for like 2 days, and that wouldn't fix it. Um, the other thing was I tried eating dinner earlier. I tried going to the gym earlier. It just does not work for
That
whatever
should
reason. My
help.
body's like, no, you're staying up. This is what's happening.
You got to get some sunlight in the morning. Now, what happened with this wood path?
Oh yeah. So there's like this path that's like basically the woods, but there's like like a dirt path in the middle. And I used to walk that in the mornings towards like morning to noonish because I've never really gotten up that early, like after high school, or I had to. Um, so it was like maybe like 9 or 10 that I'd start going around there. And I don't remember if I had breakfast before or after. That's kind of a minor detail. Regardless, I'd eat after. Anyway, and I'd walk that, but then I'd get kind of annoyed because I'd shower to wake up because I used to take showers in the morning, and then I'd have to go back after I did the walk and shower immediately after again because I'm drenched in sweat because I've been walking in the hot sun. And that was kind of something that kind of annoyed me. I mean, now I shower at night, which is what I used to do a while ago. But I was on a trip with uh, let's say some fellow classmates, I guess, and we got like put in rooms together, almost like dorms, and basically we had to share a bathroom. So I would shower in the morning, and he
Gay.
would shower at night, and he was like, "What?
I said gay.
Listen, listen. If I could choose another room, I would have. But actually, I might have been able to afford that now that I
Oh,
think of it.
wow.
But anyways, one day he's like, "Why are you showering in the morning, bro? You're wasting a lot of time, and then you got to worry about this, that, and the other. And you're going to bed dirty." And I was like, that's a good point. Let me try going to bed, showering at night. And now I've been doing that, and now I don't have to worry about showering twice in the morning. Also, because I don't wake up in the morning, and also because I don't work out in the morning. But that's kind of besides the point. Point is, showering at night is kind of a W.
Yeah, Brazilians, they shower multiple times a day. They get like really freaky about, how dirty they are. And so like there's like a 2 shower minimum for these people.
What do you mean by that exactly?
They don't like being dirty, man, but I don't know. It's a bit
Okay.
tricky being Brazilian.
So, like, jokes aside, are is it like normal for like you to be covered in mud as a Brazilian every day or something like that?
Well, I don't know because I'm talking about ones that I've met in the United States. I'm talking about ones that in college they tell me about this.
Oh yes, I showered more than 2 times a day because I feel so dirty.
Yeah, I remember I had this roommate. He was Brazilian, and he's the guy that told me about this shit. But yeah, when I first met him, I had this other roommate that I was hanging out with, and he comes in, and he starts introducing himself to us, and so he's asking about like our situations as far as like if we have any affairs going on campus in the regard of sexual material, and so basically sexual nature, I guess, is the correct
You
terminology.
tried so hard to dance around that.
Yeah, and then I just went straight for it. But he was like, "So you guys, you have girlfriends, boyfriends?"
Whoa.
He straight up went for it. He was just asking us, and we just look at each other because we're the two dudes that are already there. And so, we just look back at him and we're just kind of like, what? And he's like, well, he's I do not assume. I do not assume. Yeah. It was
I
strange.
You would think that Brazilians would assume.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I'm not sure because I had this Brazilian friend when I was a kid, and the thing is, we were like driving in a car, I think, after eating at Olive Garden, and then there were these two gays outside of the Olive Garden, and I remember distinctly one was black, one was white, and they kissed, and we were like, "Oh, dude, what?" We were like, "What the, is that?" We were like 7 probably or something, but he was Brazilian, his family was Brazilian, they thought it was weird too, and we were like, "Men kissing? What the hell?" So you'd think a race of people and how they act, but apparently not.
It's always hard to tell with the Brazilians. From what I get, they're like simultaneously ultra conservative and then also like ultra like progressive, I guess you could say.
The same people or just like different people within Brazil?
No, yeah, like depending on who you confront, I suppose. Like most of the I
Because
didn't even
yeah,
really know Brazilians existed until I got to college, where for whatever reason there was just a lot of them at that particular college, and they definitely seemed like more of the progressive type.
you didn't know they existed. You were like, Brazilians sounds kind of high.
I yeah. Uh well, like I don't know. I've never encountered a Brazilian. As far as I know, that could have been like a farce.
Yeah,
Brazilians,
like somebody just
that's
from
a lie.
Portugal. Something.
Yeah. A guy from Portugal that happens to go to South America once, and he's like, "Hey, I'm a Brazilian."
Yeah,
Have you heard that language, by the way?
I have, and again, I've told this to people because I know Spanish. It sounds like a retarded Spanish. It's like, it's kind of the thing where like, how if you watch a video where it's like, this is what English would sound like if you woke up one day and you didn't know English anymore. I mean, it's kind of like that, except for the person sounds like,
I mean, well, hold on. Brazilian Portuguese or Por-
Well, I'm
Portuguese from
speaking about
Portugal?
Brazilian specifically, but yeah, sure.
Okay, I can kind of relate with that. Like,
I mean, just reading
it's
it too.
weird
Like if you
too.
try reading it, it's so weird.
They yeah, especially if you're coming from like a Spanish background where everything's kind of not that. When I was in like classes in college, you'd have like they always like stuck together, like in herds or whatever. Whenever they found like another Brazilian, they'd be like, "Oh, I, they'd say it in their own language. You'd be like, "Oh, we need to stick together, or whatever." And like every now and then, you'll hear them like talking in class or whatever in Portuguese, and it's just like the most bizarre thing you've ever heard. It's not like Spanish where you're like, "Oh, okay, I'm kind of used to this. I know what the show is like here," but Portuguese. It does kinda sound like Spanish, but, like, special. Yeah, I mean, that's kinda the best way to put it, but have you heard Portuguese from Portugal? That's, like, a completely different beast.
No, I haven't actually. I don't think
It's,
I have.
I was watching a video a while ago because I'm kind of like into that language stuff. People say it sounds like a Slavic language, so like closer to Russian and Polish than it does to like Italian or Spanish.
I was going to mention this is still on the Brazilian thing, but these people know their way around meat though. They may sound like retards, but they capture the essence of what is barbecue. I went to even like the roommate in college, he told me about how there was like Brazilian barbecue all the time, like they're famous for this stuff. But I found a food truck the other day. I went to it, and after a few drinks, I was like, man, I need some of that steak. And so I tried these, like, I don't know what they're called, like churrasquino or something like that, like on a skewer. I mean, I tried that, man.
Right.
That was good stuff. Like, I sat there just munching on it. Oh my, I could go for more. But yeah, no, I mean, like I was with one of my friends, and he was looking at the menu, and he's like, man, what does this say? And it was like a burger, right? So, you see the picture on there, but he doesn't know what the translation for like what the ingredients are. And so, with my light understanding of what they're trying to say as Portuguese people, or as Brazilian people, I should say, speaking Portuguese that they do, I was looking at it. I mean, I could vaguely understand what they were saying. And, I mean, it actually wasn't that hard to read out like what they meant when they said like, sauce of the house, or like what kind of cheese it was, or what kind of bread it was. It was pretty easy to understand. I mean, I think some of it was translated, but for the most part, like the burger description for some reason was just completely like in Portuguese. Like there was no English on the side of that one. I don't know why. Like some of the stuff actually did have translations. It's just that one, for some reason, they just didn't even translate it. They just put out the full description in Portuguese on the English menu.
Maybe they felt strongly about describing burgers in a certain language.
It could be. It could be that they did not want to tell you how to put, bread, a bun, or like fucking meat, cheese, and like sauce from their house on there. Maybe it was the house sauce. Maybe that was what they were so proud of. They didn't want to call salsa de la casa like house sauce. I don't know what the fuck it is exactly in Portuguese, but whatever.
Oh, okay. I was so confused when you said that. When you said house sauce, I was thinking like they brought sauce from their like home, and I was like, what?
Well, it's a food truck, so I'd assume, what house are they talking about?
I guess, yeah, that's technically still right. But like when you said house sauce, I imagine oh shoot, I got this cool new action figure, but I left it at my house. I'll bring it tomorrow type thing.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
that, not
again,
like
like I mean,
house fries or whatever.
I
Where
don't.
it's like
Do you think all the food is prepared in the food truck?
it can't be.
They've got to do some prep work at home.
Yeah.
And
Oh, well,
this is unlike a restaurant in which you can see, well, you can't really see the food preparation, but you kind of know they do it in the back. I mean, there may be a lot of terrible health conditions back there that you don't know about, but still, somebody taking that food home and then preparing it and bringing it in kind of gives you a different feeling.
a good feeling or a bad feeling?
Well, in the case of this one, it felt all right, just because, the guy seemed reputable. But, in some cases, I don't know that I'd trust that. Because have you seen this kind of shit? We've talked about this, I think, where it's like fucking people making food in toilets and bathtubs and shit just for like views. But like either way, they're talking about how they're like making like cocktails in the toilet and putting a bunch of ice in there, putting like the liquor in the filter, and then just like flushing and like creating a cocktail in their toilet. Some lady that did that shit.
Yeah, the woman with like her like homemade punch or whatever.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, aside from the fact that just being in a toilet, there was so much incredibly just over the top amounts of like corn syrup and artificial sweeteners in that. She put so much garbage in that for no reason whatsoever. And I get it's punch, which is kind of just awful in general, but damn, she went overboard.
Well, if you watch that video, my question is still, how the fuck do you get the punch in the cup? Because there is like, it's running down the side of the toilet. You got to put the ladle there. You're barely getting any in the ladle.
If I had to put a ladle in a toilet, I would not use that ladle ever again. I think we talked about this too. Like,
Yeah.
even if she bought a new toilet, it it does not feel right. I wouldn't. No,
We got to
it just
ask,
wouldn't work.
we got to ask this question when we post it on Spotify, because you can ask questions like as an actual thing after the episode's posted, or I guess while you're posting it, you can say like, ask a question to the audience Q&A. Be like, instead of what did you think of the episode, be like, would you drink punch out of a new toilet?
Specifically new.
Yeah,
I feel
that's
like
why, because that's the importance of the question. Because a regular toilet, most people are going to say no anyway. You already know. But it's kind of like, do people value the dignity of not drinking out of a toilet or not? Like that in and of itself.
I think that is the issue. Yeah, it's a dignity thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
theoretically, there shouldn't be anything wrong with it if it's a brand new toilet, but it does not sit well. I don't know.
Sit.
Yeah, I won't be sitting on it either.
Does not sit
Imagine
well.
using that toilet after somebody used it to make punch.
Like what? She sold it to you or something?
I mean, unless she's keeping it, I don't imagine she would be.
Well, important question, I guess. Would you buy the toilet after she used it for that video if it's new?
Maybe to, like, sell it off as, like, an investment.
Why would you? How much is a toilet?
Well, I would assume, okay, a lot of people saw this toilet, then I could put it on, like, eBay and say, "This is the toilet used by this one woman that made punch," and then everybody would be like, "Oh, that's, like, collectible and whatnot," and you know how this kinda stuff
This
works, like
is the
Yu-Gi-Oh
punch
cards.
toilet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, I was saying, would you buy it for your own personal use? Like, would you use that toilet after it's been like, after it's been flushed and everything, it's installed, it's like it works. I
Probably
mean, would
not.
you? No? Why not?
No. I
Because I'd use that toilet.
I I can't really explain it logically because I mean, there's really nothing wrong with it, it's just
Yeah.
sugar water instead of actual water,
But
but
see, I'm talking about you
still.
flush it and like the system has kind of like made it so that now the new water's in, like it's connected to the actual fucking water system. It's a toilet. There's nothing different about it except for that punch got made in there. But the actual experience of using the toilet, aside from your personal feelings of it, is the exact same as any other toilet. Like there's no
I feel
difference in
like
the
there would
water
be,
or
like, some
nothing.
stains in there though, no? Like, unless
Maybe
you, like, poured
stains,
bleach down there.
maybe some stains. If bleach couldn't clean it out, it's still there. But I'm saying this is the same toilet. Nothing impossible is happening to it, but it's gone through the normal prep process of what you would for any toilet that you're installing and cleaning, maybe.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Is it that deep? It's a toilet.
it is a toilet, but not a toilet I'd like to use.
Well, I don't see why not at that point. Is it just because the association with this lady? Like it's because you're thinking you're going to be in her house, or is it the fact that like you still feel some sort of dignity aspect? Like I don't want to even be associated with that content, even as far as using the exact same toilet of it. Like, is it if somebody
Yeah,
did this
that's
in
probably
private
it.
without posting it online, would you still not use it?
That's a good question. Probably still would.
Would or would not use it?
Would.
Would use it.
'Cause then I wouldn't even know about it unless she put it in, like, the sellers thing, like, "Oh, I
Well,
use this."
what if you're
Well, no,
aware?
then if she put it in, like, the seller notes or whatever, and she said, "Oh, yeah, I use this to make, like, this punch bowl
Mhm.
thing or whatever," I'd be like, "Why? What? Why
Why did
would
you feel
I?"
the need to say that?
Yeah. So then I wouldn't buy it.
What about this toilet has changed fundamentally by you doing that to the point where you need to tell me if you're selling this toilet?
Exactly.
It's like somebody
So,
getting murdered in the house and you're selling it.
yeah, it's a nice house, so this guy got murdered in there, but anyways, you can see the drapes over here,
Yeah.
real nice window view. You can see the park from here, like, what.
Would you use a toilet? Let's say you just went to somebody's house and they have a toilet and you need to use the bathroom. Now, what if you knew that this person's granddad died on that toilet? Would you use the toilet?
I feel like it'd be weird not to.
Because you just don't want to deny that, you need to use the bathroom and this is your friend's house and all that.
It would again be like one of those things like, "Why would you tell me this?"
But let's say
But,
you
like,
knew the friend told you in advance, like this was not in the same situation. Like, let's say your friend told you beforehand, he's like, yeah, my granddad just died. And you're like, how? And he's like, well, yeah, he was just on the toilet and he passed away like of natural causes. And so, or maybe like he was sitting on it still and the lid was up and then he sat down anyway, got like pushed down into the toilet because he fell in. And then when he flushed the toilet, it just evacuated his like intestines and all, whatever, like it sucked out his intestines,
like
whatever
in South
whatever the
Park.
case may be. Yeah, whatever the case may be. He died on that toilet, one or the other. But your friend tells you that in that situation, and you're kind of like consoling your friend, and you're like, it's man, life happens. I'm sorry about your loss, though. I'm sure we can make it through this. And so, but then like a few maybe months or years even later, you go to your friend's house. He has not replaced the toilet. He's cleaned it, but he's not replaced the toilet. And he's like, yeah, well, I mean, if you need to go to the bathroom, man, go ahead. It's right here.
I would definitely feel a certain way about it, but I don't
Right.
think it would be enough for me to say, "Yeah, I'm not gonna do that." And then fuck. Uh, on the other hand, I think like if anybody was like, yeah, he was like upset about it or whatever, like, yeah, you could use that toilet. That is the toilet I was telling you about, bro. I'd be like, I feel like the fact that he would think that I had a certain feeling about it would make me want to say, what the fuck? Who do you think I am? I'm gonna use it.
Now, I think it's different because if it were like just the fact that he died of natural causes on the toilet, why not? I'll use it. But if it was like he sat down and the seat was up and it sucked out his insides when he fell in, I'd be a little wary using this toilet.
Hmm.
I
Well,
mean,
I'd
it's not like
assume
I'm going to
they like
necessarily
clean out the
fall
toilet.
in.
No,
What?
I'd assume they like clean out the toilet.
Well, I'm saying like that's scaring me, that the fact that I could fall in there and have the same thing happen to me, unless the guy is just fragile.
I think that can
The
happen in any
suction
toilet.
power.
No,
Can that happen? Will that happen if you fall in?
I don't know.
I
I
feel like
don't want
that's
to
a
try
myth.
it
That's
either.
got to be a myth. Can we get
I
the
feel like somebody has had
Mythbusters
to
on
like
this?
tested it
We got to get the Mythbusters on this one.
because like there's definitely some force in that toilet flush, but I don't think it would be enough to rip your intestines out of your asshole.
No, and that sounds like a very unpleasant experience as well.
Yeah,
Just not even
yeah.
the fact that you're dying. It's just the sensation. Like I don't like the feeling of thinking about that.
I imagine you wouldn't like the feeling of it in general.
I know, but I don't like the feeling of thinking about the sensation. It irks me.
I'm just still like thinking about that South Park episode.
I know, because I keep thinking about that scene as well. But when I first watched that scene, I felt it. And I did not like what I felt.
No, yeah, that too. That was a it was not like I was about to say a pivotal moment in my development, but that scene hit different. I don't know why, because it's not like South Park or like anything else I was watching was like short of gore or anything like that. But I don't know. That was it, and I never even thought about the fact that this could happen like in real life potentially. I thought it was like them just kind of going off the cusp like ridiculousness.
Yeah, I
But
still think it is. But imagine there was a toilet with that level of suction.
I feel like have you ever been to like an airplane toilet?
Yeah.
One of those could probably do it.
I think the hole would have to be small enough. See, I'm thinking the problem here is that the hole's too big for you to actually fall in at the right position for that to happen to you. I think if there was like the right angle, the right hole size, I think then it could actually do it.
Maybe. And then the other thing is like those airplane toilets, they usually don't have a lot of water either. So there's a water play role in that as well.
Hmm.
Because if it's just air, I would imagine, okay, that's probably not going to do that much. But if you're submerged in it,
Right.
then
But the airplane toilets don't usually have water.
yeah, I was trying to remember whether or not they had any water and it was just a little bit, or if they just had none.
No,
I
I'll
can't
tell you.
remember
I'll tell you
exactly.
what. If you're looking for suction and you're looking for the toilet that'll do this to you, a Walmart toilet.
I can't remember the last time I seen a Walmart toilet.
Now, a Walmart toilet, I think if we're to find a toilet that'll suck your insides out, it's this one. I mean, the suction on those is just insane.
How often do you go to a Walmart toilet?
I'm just saying, they're notable for this. They're known for it.
Really?
Yeah.
This is the first time I've heard of this.
Well, I've heard of it. People tell me about it. They say Walmart toilets are the best toilets. I mean, I don't know about the best to sit on and all that, but just as far as, actually, extracting the goods, the payload.
It's bad enough that I have to walk into a Walmart. I've always hated Walmart for reasons. But then going from there and having the desperation to use a Walmart toilet always made me think, yeah, no, whatever I need to do, I can hold it.
Walmart was actually the first corporation to make it so that people would have to actually shop for their own groceries. Because before Walmart, people would literally just hand their list to the bag boy and he would get it for you and you'd just pay and leave.
I'm not going to lie. I kind of like that.
Well, I mean, nowadays you can go to Walmart having pre-ordered on the app and they have the workers come out and still give it to you. They've gone full circle, honestly.
That sounds very like 50s. Like, oh, hey, Jimmy, I've got these things I need to get done. You mind getting them for me? Ah, no, sure thing, Mr. Smith. I'll get them right for you. And then it takes like 5 minutes.
Doesn't it sound beautiful?
It does. It sounds like one
Exactly.
of those like paintings you see of like where it's like sort of photorealistic but not entirely, of like the
Right.
50s, and like everybody's smiling, and like
Right.
there's a guy dressed up in like a suit, and the guy's like, even though he's working for minimum wage and he doesn't really care because minimum wage actually doesn't suck at that time. Um
Yeah, on minimum wage, you could fucking buy a house for your family.
yeah. Oh, how you doing, Jimmy? I'm great. With this minimum wage, I'm gonna be able to buy a 2-bedroom apartment or a house, I guess. Yeah. Well, you keep working, Bucko. You're gonna get up there. I see good things in you.
Yeah. And when it
But
comes
yeah.
to getting a job back then, it was just like, well, I walked in and I told that manager, I says to that manager, I says, I can be your best worker ever, sir. And he says, well, son, I like the look on your face. I'm going to give you a shot. Just come in right now. If anything, I'll give you the mop right now and you can go ahead, sir.
Oh, he got the janitor job. Now, was he walking in for the janitor job, or did he just kind of like vaguely say, "I can do the job better than anybody else here"? And the guy was
No,
like,
yeah,
"Oh
no.
well."
I mean, pretty much you just walk into whatever place you want, say you can do the job, and they give you the job that's there. I mean, it's whatever they have at the moment, but you go into any place, say you want a job, and it would be just like, well, I'm convinced, son, I might as well give you this job here.
So I could walk into obviously I'm bending the timeline a bit here. Walk into like an Apple factory or whatever and be like, "Oh, well, I bet you this guy can't even do this correctly. I bet I can do the job better than everyone else here." And I'm really talking about like, I don't know, being a manager or something like that. But then he's like, I see you got some spunk in you, son. I'll put you where you need to be." And then he puts me on like the line where I'm designing stuff and I have no training in it whatsoever. Well, is that like a possibility?
Well, no, they'd put you at the beginner job. It's just you would start out with whatever job they have ready for the people that they usually hire as like entry level. I mean, eventually
That
you would
makes
get
more
to the
sense.
higher end stuff, but that would just be kind of like you work there for like, a few weeks or a few months. And then they're like, well, Jimmy, I like the way you're working. I'm going to give you a promotion, Jimmy.
Well, because I'm also thinking there's like, well, not none, but there were a lot less regulations on top of that. So a lot less like false barriers to entry as well.
I suppose. I mean, I don't know if they'd put you right away at a top level position, but you'd get there pretty quick.
Do you think like they have that thing where like you're the like meme where you're applying for like an entry level job and they're like, yeah, we're looking for this, that, and the other. Also, you need to have 5 years of experience, and then everybody's like, well, this is an entry level job. How am I supposed to have that kind of experience if I'm getting an entry level job? Do you
for
think
a
that was a
master's
problem
degree,
back then?
for a master's degree, you could make $18 an hour. Yeah, no, I mean back then, no, it was not a problem. People really just went to college if they wanted to focus on something specifically that took like, actual effort. But it wasn't a
What are you trying to
requirement
say?
socially. What?
What are you trying to say?
Well, what I'm saying here is that people used to go like if they're doing like, actual jobs that are like engineers that you actually need years of like training and preparation for, but it's just become more of a thing where academia has grown as an institution where like basically, it's kind of like they want to take your money from you, so they just make it so that, well, we have the government behind us, it can just be that every corporation suddenly needs you to have a degree. And so,
That's
now you need a degree to get into whatever job, you want to get into.
I don't remember who I was talking to about this, but I was talking about it with somebody. Um, how like well, I completely just lost my train of thought. Oh, so how it's become like built into the culture, at least in the US. I don't know about Europe because I mean, I was actually surprised how little some of those people get paid, and they're just kind of fine with it. But anyway, um, it's built into the culture. Like after high school, you go to college, no matter what. Like this is what you do. And then on top of that, I was in a lecture for it was like an economics course, I'm pretty sure, and we had like a foreign professor from like Northern Europe, so like upper developed Europe, not like Moldova or something like that. No hate to our Moldovan fans, of course, assuming we have any ever, but it's a tiny country. But anyway, he was talking about how like I'm pretty sure they're like the poorest country in all of Europe too.
Man.
Yeah. But anyway, this guy, he was talking about how I don't even know how we got on this topic, but he was talking about how in Europe you go to university if you have a specific major in mind and you feel like, I need to do this to get to this point of expertise on this thing or whatever. Not necessarily like a engineer or plumbing or whatever, but like any kind of like, oh, I want to be a master's in history, I want to be a master's in psychology, that kind of stuff. But over here in the US, what they do is they make you take a bunch of useless courses,
Yeah.
and then you can go to college not knowing what you want to do. But then you've wasted enough money where you're like, okay, well, I've already put enough money into this. So now I have to figure out what I'm like from these courses that I'm forced to take. And obviously, he didn't put it like that. I'm kind of putting my own spin on it. But once he said that, I was like, oh, wow, this is actually just a scam.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing, too, that he said this unironically and he didn't even see the issue with what he was saying whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even really that the culture just developed to do that. It's more like, that's what academia became, and then the culture followed.
Yeah, to be fair. But
Yeah.
either way, it's really screwed up. Oh,
Yeah, well, pretty much the United States as an economic powerhouse, it's got to have people that are doing something, and that's pretty much what's being produced here. It's like mindless people that have pieces of paper saying, "Well, I got this."
let me tell you, I can't cook, I can't clean, I have no qualifications for this job, but I have this piece of paper that says I did something for 4
Yeah,
years.
and even if you get the proper qualifications for a job, then they do want to screw you over anyway and say, "Well, you can't even have a job here."
What,
So I mean,
because you have the
you're
paper?
screwed regardless. Actually, that's interesting because, I had a friend tell me he was looking for a place to live recently, and he was saying that they're looking like, for like 5 to 6 times, like you have to earn like 5 to 6 times the rent to actually be like renting, some places.
What was he, like, trying to get a place in, like, Malibu Beach or something? The
Well,
fuck?
I don't know because it's no, he was trying to get some stuff near where he works, and he doesn't work in that big of a place. So, it's kind of weird. Like, I don't know if he was actually just trying to get a house or like if he was trying to find somewhere to rent. But, if it's not like student housing, I could see maybe that like owners of like, places that they're renting out right now are probably going to be that like that. Like, they're not going to want you to be like, making ends meet and that's it. But like, I don't know. I don't know exactly what it is. I'd need to ask him again. Like, are you sure that wasn't just a house or something? But shit's tough, man. Apparently
Confuse
things are
the house
slower than
for
they're
a
supposed to be, even for the Christmas season. I mean, it's, I don't want to get too depressing or anything, but yeah, no, I mean, shit's down the gutter. I mean, it's really bad,
damn.
but
I was, like, so full of optimism for the past, like, few weeks, and it's going down now.
well, it's you would think that like maybe Business Insider's telling me that things are better now, the economy's recovering, but then here it is, like everything's fucking slow. Are you kidding me? That sounds like
What
you're
was
trying to
that,
trick me into you're trying to trick me into thinking things are good, so I'll spend my money. Fuck you.
that one, I don't know if it was a tweet or an article that you sent a while ago where it's like, "The economy is great," or wait, no. It was one of those, like, progression memes where it's, like, the guy putting on the clown makeup, and it's like, "The economy's going through a bump, but, that's normal. Oh, the economy's going through a bump, but, we're gonna get over it." And then, like, the last one was like, "The economy sucks and it's your fault," when he has the full makeup on. It's like,
Yeah.
jeez.
Well, we're not there
But,
yet. They're still telling us it's good.
it's not.
But except for we're always one step ahead. We can tell when things aren't good, even though they say it's good.
That's true. We're
But
unplugged
at the
from
end of the day,
the
we do
matrix.
produce things, as you and I, not just America. I'm not talking Americans in general. You and I, and maybe some other people in America, we make podcasts like this one. At
That's
least we have
true.
something. We make something of value. People listen to this and they go, "Wow, these guys, they can really talk about this."
Yeah, I mean, we can talk.
Yeah.
There
You know,
yeah, that one scene from, the first Shrek movie where the guy comes up with a donkey and he's like, "Well, what do you got here?" "Oh, I got a talking donkey." "A talking donkey, huh? Alright, well, let's see it." And he just refuses to talk, and he's like, "I could talk. I could love to talk. I could talk and talk and talk." That's us. Not
have
the
you?
donkey, I guess the other guy.
I was just thinking about that waffles meme where Donkey's reaching for it with his mouth, and it's like fucking me getting pulled over, and it's the waffles are like a Magnum revolver.
It
Yeah.
oh, my buddy, he was telling me, just yesterday, actually, how, he was driving on the highway and he got pulled over because, well, why he got pulled over wasn't really important. It was like a minor thing that he just kinda wasn't paying attention to. And he got let off with, like, like a warning because it wasn't that big of a deal. But he was joking to me. He's like, "Yeah, I think the way I got off of that was because I was so, well behaved and respectful." And what I mean by that really is, I was completely terrified of the man, and he was just kind of shouting at me, or whatever. And then we started joking like, "Well, yeah, that was really just a facade." But what I really want to do, as soon as he rolled down the window, start grabbing for my my firearm.
That is pretty accurate. I mean, I think that is what most people go through when they are being stopped.
What, grabbing their firearm?
No, they're scared to death that the cop is yelling at them, and they're thinking about doing that because that's what they really want to do. I mean, I don't know. If seeing the memes, it must be some sort of common sentiment that people feel this way.
That's actually a good point because memes don't come out of nowhere.
Right.
So, do you think enough people actively were like, "Yeah, man, like that feeling when you get pulled over and you're terrified of the cops, so you start reaching for your Magnum?" Or do you think it's like enough people like subconsciously think about it and never brought it up? And one guy's like, "Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna make a meme about this," and just kind of caught on.
Yeah. Well, it was probably the first one.
I've never had a conversation like that, unironically.
I would think, that it just can't be that somebody came up with this joke and then people followed. Like I think for real there must be some sort of uprising happening in which, well, to calm the YouTube censors and people that may be listening to this that know me, I'm just thinking that maybe there's some sort of feeling that that the people of the world, who are responsible firearms owners that would never shoot somebody, for any reason that is wrong, that have been pulled over and told, you, sir, must remain here while I keep you here by force, because if you leave, it's threat of force, but if you leave, I will use force against you, so that I can hand you this ticket, or should I say ransom note. And so when people see that, I think, maybe there's some sort of unity in thinking, well, we're all kind of feeling it, but none of us are actually going to do it, but we're all kind of feeling it, that this needs to happen.
How is driving off a threat of force?
No. If you're driving off, you're under threat of force by the cop.
Okay,
But if you drive off, you will have force used against you.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. I was
Yeah.
thinking you were coming from the point of view of like the law, saying if you drive off, that is a sign
No.
of force, and we will use force against you.
That's
Like,
how
what
they
if you
see it.
just didn't see like the lights or whatever, and you just happened to stop, and the cop thought you're stopping for him, but then you're like, oh well, you were like checking your phone or something. Then you drive off it, and then he's like, we gotta run, or we gotta take him down, and he starts like shooting at you.
Yeah. What you got to say is officer, am I being kidnapped? And if he says, no, well, then you got to say, well, then what happens if I drive off? I mean,
Good question.
officer, are you kidnapping my family?
What happens if he says yes?
Well, you're screwed. He's taking you in.
Yeah, so no, you're coming with me.
I feel like if you asked that maybe in China, they'd probably say, yeah.
I was gonna go for like a Slavic type thing. You know how fast you're going? Are you kidnapping me and my family? Yes. Get in car.
Have you seen this is kind of random, but it just made me, because of the Asian accent, I thought of it. There's this video for some reason of some guy getting like interviewed. I don't know, it's some Chinese guy and his phone's ringing. He's like,
Yeah.
your phone ringing. Your phone ringing.
He like slams it across the room.
Yeah. Why? Where is this from? Do you know the context of this?
No.
Yeah.
I wish I did though.
Your phone ringing. Your phone
It doesn't
ringing.
look fake. And the thing is, you heard that phone hit the ground too.
Yeah.
So either it happened to hit a place where there just happened to be a mic, or that thing hit hard.
Yeah. Well, there was clearly something that made him do that, whether the audio was actually there or not, somebody might have just taken the opportunity, seeing him do that over some other thing that was happening on the phone.
Maybe it was like have you seen that video of like FouseyTube in like a Best Buy? and I guess he has like a voice to or text to voice like chat thing going on if you like give enough money. And he's in the Best Buy, and it's like, something Fusi, why are you going to shoot up the Best Buy? And you just see him start like sprinting out of the Best Buy.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that he's sprinting out.
And it doesn't help that he's, well, you know,
Well,
bald.
couldn't he have turned that off? I feel like they have some sort of kill switch usually. Maybe he wasn't
You
smart
would
enough to
think
think of it.
so.
But either way, like was running out really the best option? I think that had to be for the content. Maybe that was like for content value.
Maybe.
He knew he wouldn't get in trouble for it. Maybe, possibly, I don't know. And he
I
was
feel like
just
that's
probably
something like if you ran into a Best Buy employee, you could be like, "Oh yeah, I'm so sorry," but obviously you could explain it, and the guy would be like, oh, "Okay, I see what you're meaning, but just try to keep it, controlled or whatever."
yeah.
Because
I'm
then when you
surprised they
start
don't kick you.
running, it's like, "Oh, okay, well, what's going on here?"
Depending on where you go, usually the workers can be assholes and they can just be like, leave. Like if it's like a GameStop, there's no way that shit would fly in there.
Those are really small. Everybody would have heard that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like even then, like just the employees there, like if you've seen them, like a lot of the times on YouTube Shorts, I see people like going to GameStop, like this one guy who like pranks them. Like he just starts saying like, I have a console that I'm trying to sell. And he just shows like this like Xbox with like a lamp taped on it or something like that. And he's just, shit like that. And they're just like,
Council
get
or
out.
console?
And they call the cops. No, he says
Really?
counsel.
He says council.
He's like, I have a console I'm trying to sell. He's also went
Is
to
he?
build a bear and he's done like some like stuff where he's like, yeah, I'm just trying to build a bear and for my girlfriend because yeah, like we went through a fight or whatever and it's like I'm just trying to make it up to her. And then he's like telling like some like dirty stuff into the bear. Like if for example,
Oh,
I think
it's
one
that
was
guy.
actually where he was like, I'm trying to get her to shave down there or something like that. He's like, babe, I love you, but you really just got to trim the bush, if you know what I'm saying. Trim the hedges, I think is what he said. And then like the fucking Build-A-Bear employee, like this one lady, for example, she was chill. She was all like, well, maybe a little tone it down a little bit, maybe make it a little less explicit. But another one, he went there and I think he was saying like, he did it a
Different
couple
Build-A-Bear?
Huh? Yeah, no, well, he goes to a bunch of Build-A-Bears. I don't know if it's the same one or different ones, but different employees. And he's like, babe, how did it go? He's like, when I told your sister I wanted her to ride the bone train, I was just telling her about an amusement park ride. I hope you can make it up. And like there was this Build-A-Bear employee, like he was talking to one, she just looked nervous at him. The one at the counter is like, no, you've lost your building privileges. And so like the lady that's helping him out is like, he's like, oh well, so I can't have this. And she's like, no, she makes the last call. If she says you can't have the building privileges, then you've lost building privileges, and we're gonna have to ask you to leave. And then they call security and they tell him what he said, and the guy's just fucking laughing, or he's got a smile on his face, but still.
I
Yeah.
mean, I feel like if I was working there, I would have had a good kick out of it.
I mean, these people, well, first of all, they're women, but also like with the GameStop employees, they're I don't know, they're probably like lonely people. I'm not saying about every GameStop employees. Went to one where the guy was chill, I think, or maybe a lady, I don't remember. But like a lot of the times they're kind of like the people that are, and again, just not to make generalizations, but like they're a little overweight. They're probably living with their mom. They're probably in the basement, probably not doing much. And so they get a little depressed. Maybe they don't have a big social life or anything, and maybe no goals other than just working at GameStop for the rest of their lives. And so, they probably just get upset, at themselves. And they're kind of like, well, I'm not, this is the only control I have over my life, taking this kid out of the store and stopping him from doing a stupid video.
Yeah, it's a power move, I see. I was gonna say, I'm surprised GameStop still exists. Like, I know the whole thing that happened, but I figured that would have run out by now.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're still out there. I don't think many have even closed down. I think, I don't know if it was the stock that saved it or what, that whole fiasco. I don't know what happened, but, GameStop's still there.
Do you think that the people that own GameStop are happy about it, or just like, oh my god, I was so ready to be done with this, and you
Yeah.
fuckers, you messed it up?
Yeah, they were ready for like some severance package or something, take a vacation, then find another job eventually, but still like, maybe they'd be done with it. Maybe if there were some older people that were about to retire finally, they're like, fuck these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could imagine that.
I couldn't see why anybody would ever go into one now, though.
Yeah, well, I think they were trying to do a digital thing now where they're having like, people buy it almost like a Steam. I don't know if they're doing that, but I think I saw something along those lines.
I mean, I'm not really big into gaming at all. Never really was.
Gamers.
But you can say gamer. Gamer is in your word.
Yeah, gamer is our word. We're the most oppressed people.
But I'm not big into like gaming like community, I guess you could say. I hate when people use that word like that. But do people still buy physical games like that? Because I thought it was more okay. Well, it's on my Xbox store, it's on my console store, it's on my PlayStation store. I'll just buy it here digitally.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe if there's some sort of collector's thing or something. I feel like GameStop might be more about
True.
like action figures and shit today.
Do they sell action figures?
Yeah, they sell like fucking shit like that. It's like they sell like collectibles and so on, like merch.
What kind of GameStop are you going to?
This was years ago. GameStop had always sold that kind of stuff.
I don't remember that.
I would
I
just
only
think that
remember
they sell
games.
more of it now than the games.
Oh, so they become like a nerd store basically.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, if
they're
you're trying
kind
to
of in
pick up
that
chicks,
same.
it's just not a good place. It's only like fat, sweaty guys. You know, you would think
Hey,
that
hey,
like,
hey!
if you're trying to
You've
use
got a
your
lot of.
autistic Rizz, if you're trying to use your autistic Rizz, you maybe want to go to an easy place. You don't want to go to a place where the women are like extremely confident and like, well, first of all, they're the kind of the fake confident, like they think they're
Oh,
confident in themselves, but they're like, oh, I'm a 9 or 10, all that.
I'm
Uh,
confident because people don't acknowledge the fact that I'm attractive.
I'm
Therefore,
confident because I sleep with men.
that one. Wait, wait,
Yeah.
wait. So you mean like what kind of people we're talking about? Because I was thinking like GameStop employees that are like really fat and overweight.
I was saying these are the types you're not going to find there. So if you're trying to use your autistic Rizz, you have more of a chance. But
Oh, you're getting
even
the
then,
autistic
A
girl
GameStop is
Rizz.
still barren. You're still not going to find anything there. It's too low. It's too low.
Yeah,
Now,
you're only gonna get like the quirky girls there. And do you really want that?
but I'm saying
Well,
you don't
maybe if
even
you're
have those.
autistic.
You'll have like the ones that like pretend to be dogs,
Oh,
like the fat ones that go on leashes and all that at school.
I heard you say that, and I was thinking like dogs. What like one of the homies? And I remembered that post you sent me on Instagram.
Yeah. Like literally just on the floor going,
Uh,
don't make fun of her.
you had a choice whether or not to actually imitate it, and you chose to do it.
Yeah. I made sure people get the experience. Now, let's, I guess, close off with figuring out if not GameStop, then where? Where can people go to spit autistic Rizz and be successful?
So you're saying from the point of view of an autist.
Yes. I mean, we're talking autistic as in our Rizz, but still we're autistic Rizz. Like I said with somebody thinking I had Tourette's, that kind of stuff.
I don't know. You could probably like spin that around into like being regular is because then she could be like, oh wow, he really doesn't care what he says in public.
We could go to Destiny's house, hit on his wife.
Do you want to? Oh boy.
I
All
just
right, I
popped in
guess we're
my
doing
mind.
this.
Destiny's wife is leaving him for a fucking guy that sits in her lap.
A guy.
Yeah, quote. I use the term loosely. But still, guy. It is a guy. Like this is a male, somewhat.
I actually had to double check and make sure it wasn't like something else, and I was like, oh, okay,
It's
no, that
actually
is.
Elliot Page.
I mean, no, he doesn't look as depressed.
Yeah, no, Elliot Page is just another story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Well, anyway, point being, I was just gonna say, well, I guess we're not even gonna give the spots of Rizz. Maybe that'll be next episode or something. We'll talk about where people can do that.
yeah, we could wrap it up with that after touching on the Destiny thing.
Perhaps I don't know. I was thinking continue next episode with that.
The Destiny thing?
No, with the autistic Rizz. We talk about Destiny now. I don't know. Let's just start talking about Destiny.
We'll see
See where we go
where
with
it
it.
goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Destiny, apparently, what I was reading from him, we need to pull up these posts because there are people that were like reporting on this. I think Drama Alert might have
Yeah. Well, we should
talked
probably
about
give
it.
some context too, because I'm.
Yeah.
So Destiny, he's like they always say like his main thing is streaming and like video games, but he's really more known for like being in the I guess political like commentary sphere, sort of,
Yeah.
but not like it's like a different community than like the YouTube political people, the streaming political people. It's weird how that works.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and he was in this relationship with this Swede girl, and they had an open relationship where he could see whoever he wants and she could see whoever she wants. And yeah, I mean, I guess that's enough context. Well, we kind of already touched on what happened, but you wanted to say something on that?
So Destiny said one message from him was that I'll have a small convo when I'm back about things. I'm not going to nuke quote unquote Melina or anything. Melina being his now ex-wife, I suppose, or maybe separated. I don't know exactly what, I don't think they already finalized a divorce or something, but probably it's in process starting
Yeah, I
now.
never knew they were like formally married. I thought that was
I'm
like
not certain.
you would think like if they're at that point, they'd just be like, okay, we're just a relationship. It doesn't really matter if we get married or not.
They call it a marriage. So we'll just go ahead and continue with that or anything. He said not going to nuke quote unquote Melina or anything. But the last 2 months and 2 weeks have been a massive mind fuck for me. Watching her become obsessed with a toxic / abusive guy. Parentheses, when I visited Sweden last, he gave Mel an ultimatum to divorce me and then threatened to kill himself when she didn't do it, among 20 other abusive / manipulative things he's done, and endlessly make excuses for him. So I'm out. So basically, I mean, I guess, it seems, even though like people are saying she ran off with him, I don't know if he's trying to save face by saying, well, I'm leaving her or what. But, the story here being his wife fell for another man while they were married because they have an open relationship and it's not really a marriage. And basically they can fuck whoever they want, like Destiny can go fuck other chicks, Melina can go fuck other men. And surprise, surprise, it was the woman who went to, fall for another man after having sexual relations with him. And yeah, I mean, like pretty much like, the guy turned out to be like, leave him for me. I'm gonna do things to myself if you don't. And I guess she fell for it because that's how women work, bro. But whatever. Basically, Destiny's like, oh man, fuck this, I can't have this anymore. And look at that, that relationship down the gutter. Destiny was bragging about for so long. We make it work. We still love each other. She still loves me. She loves me for me. Whatever. Blah blah blah. And here we are.
Apparently not.
Yeah. And so I saw a post from somebody that was all like, well, just because Destiny and Melina, that happened with them doesn't mean that open relationships always fail or something. It's like, well, and so, one of the comments was like, well, yeah, exactly. You don't see two people get divorced and say, well, all marriages are worthless. And it's like, well, the thing about that is that like, okay, well, as far as successful marriages in general, like between one man and one woman, where there's no sort of, intercourse outside the relationship, outside of that marriage, the success rates for that are different than the success rates for people that are like, well, let's just go do whoever we want at any time. It's not even like, I'm just letting my wife get dick down and shit, like Adam 22, for example. I don't see that lasting.
I was gonna say to go back to like the first message. Destiny was talking about how she's with like a abusive and toxic guy, and like when you hear that, you imagine like I don't know some really big like ripped guy. That's like he doesn't really care about being like nice to women or anything like that. He kind of does his own thing. He's like, oh, I'll call you whenever I want, or come over here now. I want to see you type thing. That kind of shit. Like a real demanding force. But then like I don't know if you want to pull it up, but the photo of this man, uh, very loosely, man, it's pretty much the exact opposite of what you would expect when somebody says a toxic guy.
Well, what do you mean would be okay, so you're saying toxic guy is in like Chad that like is called toxic
Well,
because he's like a masculine guy.
hold on. I'm not saying that like being a toxic guy is a good guy. I'm just saying you would think it's like, oh, it's like a trope, I guess, where when you think of toxic guy, you think of a guy that's, uh sort of like self-centered, sort of like focusing on himself, doesn't really care about the other person in the relationship, kind of. At least that's what I got the impression of.
Yeah.
But
Do
yeah,
you
this
I'm
guy's
trying to
not
find
that.
the picture of this guy over here. Let's see. I found a Sun article, but they didn't include a picture of the other guy. It'd probably be easier to find it on Twitter. But let's see. We got the Sun still. What the fuck? They just have the same message from there. Okay. I am looking still. The thing about Twitter is that you can't use it without signing in. Though, good thing I am actually signed in on your. Let's see, Melina Man. Is that a good query? He kind of is, right?
I get it.
I found a video. Let's see. I just need to share. Let's see. I'm share screen. Takes a second to load. All right. Got it in there. Okay. So this is the man. Oh, look at that shirt. What is he wearing? Like a dress? Is this a dress?
I think it is a dress.
What is this? What the? No, that is definitely a dress. Dude has like pearls on as well. Look at that on his neck. He's sitting in her lap. She's loving it. What is this? This is a lesbian couple.
That's what it looks like. If you just showed me this image without any context, I would think, oh, he's going with girls now. Okay.
Yeah. This is weird. That's tragic.
Man.
Destiny actually got an attractive woman and then fumbled it hard by letting her do that.
I mean, it's funny because people were bringing this up too, and for whatever reason, I didn't even remember this. But like, he's for the longest time, him and her, whenever they went on like any kind of like show or whatever, or were like publicly interviewed or something like that, they would always be like very like smug about how well, our open relationship works for us and this and the other, and actually it's probably better than regular relationships or what, like that kind of thing. And now it's kind of crashing and burning, and everybody's just kind of like, wow, I didn't expect this. Totally.
Yeah. Well, I think Destiny said like, he doesn't recommend it for everyone, but he said it worked for them. And he was basically like, it doesn't affect our relationship at all. But I mean, clearly it does.
Yeah. Like there's a certain level of like, okay, there's like a range of what can and can't work for certain people. Like, I mean, the easiest example is like, we like doing this on the weekends, and some couples don't like doing this, whatever it might be. Like, I don't know, going to the movies or like going to see like a play or something like that. That makes sense. But to say something as crucial as like whether or not you are monogamous or not works, well, like on both sides, monogamous or not, works for just some people and doesn't work for other. It's kind of pushing it beyond just, personal preference and kind of just getting into the point where it's like, yeah, I think there's a reason why a lot of people don't do this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I think that honestly, like, there's not much more to say on it, just because, like, we can tell how stupid it is. We know it's like we can identify the problems and sit here for a while talking about it, but it's just so obvious, It just anybody should have seen this coming. But beyond that, I think we should talk about, I guess, since we have time, I suppose, talk about finally the places to spit autistic Rizz.
All right,
my
so I
first
think
thought
we
is
need
a library.
Hold on. Are we talking about, when we say autistic Rizz, are we talking about the person that is using the Rizz is autistic, or the person is or isn't autistic and they are using a form of Rizz that is identified as autistic?
Yes, basically your Rizz is not that of a guy who is like, giving some nice, like, good pickup line that is kind of like those videos where the guys are doing pickup artist shit, or you're not really just going up to the woman and saying like, hey, I just think you look good and I'd like your number. Nothing like that. It's like fucking weird shit, or like, you're actually trying to be funny and maybe she doesn't find it funny, maybe she doesn't, but you're being weird. And so you would consider this autistic behavior in public. And so we're trying to find a place for people that may or may not be autistic, but do behave like that when they're spitting game, regardless, because of their lack of ability to act normal in a social situation. What kind of places would be most conducive to this working?
And you said a library.
I think maybe. Because, well, I don't know. I just don't know. Are there a lot of women our age that are going to libraries these days? And it doesn't even have to be like they still have to be attractive, but, they don't have to be like the hottest girls you've ever seen. It's just, the good looking girls, decent looking girls, something, I think maybe a college library.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. College library. But like a regular public library, I've only been to a few, and I don't I think I see more homeless people than attractive women there.
It's unfortunate. So what would you give as a spot then?
Autistic Rizz. You know, so I feel like off the like start, you kind of have to get rid of like the usual spots for like normal people. So
Yeah.
clubs,
No, none of that.
bars,
None of that.
yeah, none of that. Um, hmm. The kids these days, especially the type in that kind of area, they like the boba tea. I think a boba tea shop could work like that.
Okay. So like for the Asian Rizz.
Well, not necessarily Asians, because like a lot of like the not millennials, the the typical college types. I'll put it like that. They kind of like they're attracted to that like moths to a light. So it's not necessarily Asian, although a lot of Asians do like it because it is like an Asian like
That's what I'm
thing.
saying.
But you could probably get now whether or not it's like the best person to be with. That's a different story. But I think the autistic Rizz works there, and actually the normal Rizz that you would employ wouldn't work there. Actually,
Are you hearing this?
what?
That like background shit. It's like that sneeze. It's not even me. It's just like loud sneezes. Are you hearing that?
No.
Okay, whatever. It is so fucking loud. Anyway,
Where is that?
It was coming from my house.
Yeah.
Anyway, point being, I saw it pop up on the microphone as far as the volume. I'm like, damn, that is loud as shit. Anyway,
Somebody went out of their way to have like the longest, hardest sneeze possible.
it's as if that was the case. Now, I'm thinking, maybe along with this Asian stuff, there's other trendy Asian stuff, like the pho, pho.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pho, the fucking. That's what I think of when I hear it.
Are you thinking like an actual like sit down restaurant, or are you thinking like you order and you sit down and it's kind of like a lounge kind of area type thing?
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay,
of.
I can see that working.
Yeah. So, you got the Asian chicks in there. It's like, you want a pho? That's exactly what you got to say.
Did you just pick this just for that?
Well, I'm just saying it's probably gonna work.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, a normal person wouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, well, that's why I said autistic Rizz, But that's me. That's just me.
I'm trying to think of like another place that isn't, ethnocentric, because
I mean, just probably just like a Target, just walk into the store.
I don't really go out now.
No?
Isn't Target like, the typical like white girl place to go though?
That's what I'm saying. If they don't got boyfriends and they're already going there, it's like easy pickings.
But okay, so here's a question I wanted to ask too. Can autistic Rizz work on a normal woman?
That's good. That's a good point. It's a miss. It's a hit or miss. I think if it seems like you're intimidating, if it seems like you're scaring her, then no, it's not going to work. If you're being to the point where, if this woman saw you, maybe not at night in the street, but if like she saw you in the street, she'd want to avoid you for sure, as opposed to the kind of autism where it's like, yeah, I want to go over to this person to see what goofy antics this guy's up to.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. I was actually thinking about it too, because I was thinking, okay, well, surely a normal, woman of our day and age probably wouldn't like react positively to an autistic kind of Rizz effort. But then I thought about it and it's like, well, no, there's a way that can work actually, now that I think about it. And exactly as you said, it's really more about whether or not it comes off as creepy or not.
Yeah.
So I guess a Target could work, but I don't know. I don't. That's kind of an uphill battle, I think.
A bit more than the other ones, I would say, yeah.
Because like nobody really talks to other people in like grocery stores like that, or well, it's not a grocery store, but stores like that.
Yeah. That's kind of weird. Like it's become to the point where it's kind of strange to approach people in any setting that isn't a bar or club.
Yeah. Going back to our earlier, huh?
It's like, it's become like, fuck, man, when are you supposed to talk to people other than those places where you can't hear them because of how loud the music is, or they're just drunk out of their minds?
Yeah. So the only places you can hit on people is places where you're guaranteed if success, it'll be extremely temporary, or it is incredibly hard to get success because everybody's competing in one small area and it's basically made as hard to communicate as possible.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'm saying people are fucked over when it comes to this. You know what the fuck are guys supposed to do?
And then there's that kind of like that elephant in the room where if you fumble it up and she thinks you're creepy, then well, she might take out her phone and start recording you and posting it on whatever social media it is.
That's more likely if you do it at the gym, because they're already recording themselves.
Yeah. I was thinking about this though, because like we were talking about, the old 50s grocery store. Like when you watch like old movies or old TV shows or things that are set in the 50s, people are talking to each other like everywhere. Like if
Yeah.
you're like on the bus stop or something, you're like, "Oh, hey, how's it going, Jan? Oh, great, Sue." Or if you're at the grocery store, "Oh, hey, Peter, how's it going? Oh, I just went through that game." Like any place at all, pretty much. Besides like maybe the bathroom. And even then,
Right.
if you're like washing your hands, you'd still probably do that. "Hey, Jerry, how's that game?" "Oh, well, like that kind of shit. But now you can't do that anywhere really in terms of like picking people up.
Yeah. Well, I've introduced myself to somebody in the bathroom.
I'm
He was
sorry.
he was like local talent, and hold on, before you say anything, he's like a
Yeah,
rapper.
what?
He's like a rapper, he's an artist. And so he has brothers that
You
I knew in high school. And I met this guy because I was at a Chick-fil-A and I was with my friend. And I was like, yo, is that guy? Is that rapper? And so I went into the bathroom because I saw him go in. And I'm like, hey, man, like, are you this guy? And he's like, yeah, I am. He's like, how'd you hear me? I'm like, oh, yeah, I know your brothers, whatever, this and that. I'm like, yeah, I was, this was a few years back. I was like, yeah, I produce music. Like, maybe I should show you some of my stuff. He's like, yeah, that'd be cool. And so I remember because he distinctly reminded me of this afterward. But this was the line I gave because it was just so fucking like it smelled in there. So I was like, hey man, are we gonna like leave the bathroom though? Because like it smells like shit in here. I think somebody's taking a shit. I said that out loud too. The guy that was taking the shit heard me. Yeah. And so, I mean, he to this day tells me about that story because of how much it like resonated with him that I told him that. And so, probably people don't approach each other in the bathroom a lot because if they did, this would just be a common occurrence.
I actively try not to. Like, if I'm in the bathroom with like a buddy of mine, hold on, pause. If I'm in the bathroom and another person I know happens to be in the bathroom at the same time doing bathroom duties, I kind of just avoid any conversation unless they start talking because I'm trying to get out of here, bro. It smells
Yeah.
like shit in here.
Right.
And then like on top of that, you have the added awkwardness of, well, there's probably a guy in the stall hearing all that we're talking about. So I don't really exactly want this guy to hear what we're talking about. And it's not like it's like oh, I'm in like a mall or whatever, and you can talk out loud and you don't want to hear other people to hear you or whatever, but it's not really an issue because it's so much louder anyway. The bathroom is always quiet. Even if they have music on in there, there's always very faint music. So you can hear exactly what somebody's saying at all times
Right.
in the bathroom.
So now that I'm thinking about it, what you need to do if you want to spit autistic Rizz and you want to be able to talk to people, I mean, I've heard this advice before, but clearly what you have to do is find an interest, right? And then you have to go to a group that practices this interest. But the problem is I don't have a lot of interests that are shared with women, like I don't want to bake, I don't want to go to a class for baking. I don't want to do that. I don't want to go to a class for like
I
whatever
feel like
the
that's
other.
older women too.
Well, yeah, exactly. Probably, and at the best, they're like in their 30s, right? Because what woman that's like 20 years old is going to a baking class?
I don't think any woman past that's like in our age group has
He's
ever
going to a
considered
class.
baking like at all.
Other than college, is she even going to a group? I mean, I think men are far more inclined to go to social groups or like things that are actually productive as opposed to just going out and drinking.
Yeah. Going out and drinking is like one of like several different things you could do. You can go see a
Yeah.
movie, you go to watch a game, you can
Well,
do
I'm
anything
saying other
really.
than entertainment, I think that like men are more inclined in general to go to things that have to do with skill building.
Elaborate.
Well, I'm saying like when it comes to interests and things that you would actually be like working on, as far as let's say, for example, I don't know, like let's say you're into 3D printing or you're into, I don't know, even if you are into cooking, I feel like guys are probably more likely to actually go to the group as opposed to women who probably would just like look it up online or read it in a book or something. I mean, probably look it up on
Yeah.
their phones at this point.
Hold on. this actually gets to a good topic. Are women becoming autistic?
How? Because like they're becoming
Well,
what?
like, listen, they are. Most women go out of their way, it seems, at least like modern women, to not be in social circles.
Is that true? No, I mean, I think
I
when it
mean, that's
comes to
kind of
like
the way you're painting
entertainment,
it.
well, when it comes to entertainment, that's not the case, I would say. Or when it comes to like going out to drink, that's definitely not the case. What I'm saying is if
Yeah.
it's like a group of people that are interested in a certain hobby that has to do with productivity or like,
Okay.
yeah, or building like something like creation, something that causes, the mind to be exercised. Yeah, pretty much like if it's not always play, like you need something that it's like you need to put work into it, but it's fun, but you need to put work into it, I think is the issue.
Mm.
I mean, I look, I women are great and all, but, but, I think I have a point here. And I think it would be wrong of people who would label this misogynist to just outright dismiss this. I think there is some more to be said about this. I think there's maybe some more digging that needs to be done because it's just the truth. It's how I have seen it as far as at least, from my perspective of how I viewed things, like this happens to be the most common occurrence and the most common truth. And if women are in some sort of interest group, they're typically older. Like only younger guys are really going to these interest kind of stuff.
Yeah. That's funny that you bring that up too, because I was talking to some people online and they posted like a picture of like, I assume it was like 4chan, or it's like, be me, try to take my family out on like a nice thing, take them to a hike. All they do is whine and complain the entire time. And I was thinking about this, and like the like end like conclusion of it is like women or whatever. And I was thinking about this and I was like, if I had like a woman that I was trying to court or whatever, and I decided to pick a activity for us to do for like a date, what is the likelihood that if I decided to do something like active, like hiking or going on a
Kayaking.
walk or swimming, anything like that, that they wouldn't, either A, just go with it but secretly hate it and tell me like later on if the relationship goes past that, like I really hated that first date, or would just say, what the hell is wrong with you? Just take me out to dinner or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be very high that many women would not do one of those two things. Specifically the latter.
Yeah, because I mean, there are women interested in it. It's just, I think, yeah, there probably would be less than, compared to men if we're talking about ratios here.
Yeah. And then like the other thing is the super sporty women, I don't know, they have a tendency to be kind of like, more, I don't want to say self-centered, but like focused on what they're doing kind of, and it kind of makes
Yeah,
it odd for like a relationship kind of thing.
right.
Cuz then
Yeah,
like
no, I mean, I get that
they're
too, because like
they're like, "Oh,
they're
go
like
on."
very masculine in how they operate as well. They're just kind of like, if anything, they're probably looking for a guy that doesn't do those things.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah,
probably
that's
looking, they're probably looking for a guy that's like, he's new to this stuff, or maybe he's the one that's like, yeah, I hated that.
yo, maybe that's why Melina went with the new guy.
Yo, that actually, wait a minute, you have a point.
I
Shit, man.
mean,
Okay.
like that guy is not playing any or doing anything like that that requires any effort. I'm just saying.
He's wearing dresses.
And Melina is, I mean, she's not unfeminine, but she's not exactly, you know, typically feminine in the same at the same time. So
Yeah, well, I've seen a clip of her going like to some guy. She's like, "Oh, you want mel time? It's mel time."
yeah, I remember that clip.
Yeah, because the guy
Oh
called her
god.
Destiny's wife, and she got upset about that.
Oh
She got
wow.
pressed about it at
Some
least.
foreshadowing.
Well, she didn't like, she just said my name's Melina or something like that. I don't remember. Like, she just didn't like being labeled as Destiny's wife, as if, you're right. It could just be that the title was not pleasing to her, that she doesn't want to be this guy's wife, and so
Well, I
who
mean,
knows?
she's not acting like a wife,
She's not
even when they
proud.
were married. So
Well, look, they're not spouses; they're partners. Okay, and
I
these
think they are
partners.
like officially married because people were talking about the divorce.
Yeah, I don't know. Now, I don't know. We will have to find out eventually when when more information about this case comes out. In other news, uh, I guess the last thing I will mention is I did look up who has the right of way after our last discussion last show. As far as if you're in a median and you're turning around and somebody's in on the left side of you, in their like perpendicular angle, taking a right onto that same road that you're trying to U-turn onto in a median, who has the right of way? Honestly, it depends where you're at, but our case for why the person in the median has the right of way makes perfect sense to a lot of people. And depending on where you live, that could be the rules of the road. Everywhere else is retarded. And so that's my piece for today.
I am inclined to agree. I think I was right when I took that turn. So I will renege the official conclusion I gave on that, where I was in the wrong and that I suck at driving. I think everybody around me just kind of sucks at driving, which, to be fair, of the people in my area or people that come to my area from other areas nearby or even further areas from near not so nearby that come to drive here, they always say people here don't know how to drive. So I think there's something there.
Too many
I have like a
foreigners.
one guy who's from like I'm not gonna give too much away. He's from another nearby city and he comes to visit every now and then. We hang out and whatnot in my area, and he's like, "Yeah, no, I absolutely hate driving here. I'd much rather live in or frequent my area because it's still bad, but it's not nearly as bad as it is here."
All
He's
right.
like around your area, kind of.
Well then, with that being said, I guess this has been the podcast ever, right?
The real one.
Yeah, the
There may
true
be
one.
many pretenders, many fakes, but you can always say this. There is always, at one given time at least, only one true Caesar. And that's us.
The podcast ever.
The podcast ever. All right. Yeah. Uh check out next week, I guess. When we figure out when that is. Yeah. All right. I'll see we'll
I was just
catch you
pretending to
guys
be a
later.
Portuguese guy. I don't know what's so confusing.
I wasn't really confusing. It was just more. No, I guess yeah, that was confusing because I was not
Pretending to be a
expecting it.
Brazilian.
We should bring up like a clip of like a Portuguese Portuguese speaker versus a Brazilian Portuguese speaker next episode.
All right.
But yeah, this is it. Bye. Yeah, wait, did you want to say
No.
anything? All right. See ya. It's taking a long time to end the recording. Oh, whoa, okay.
Did you just not click end record?
No, I did. It's just not doing it. Hold on. Let me try this. Bruh.